everyone and welcome back to my studio. I don't know if you can tell from the opening sequence of this video, it's going to be a bit of a chilled out day. It's Sunday today as I'm filming this and it is the dullest day. I've got all of the lights on, but I've been tidying a little bit on these kind of cosy Sundays. I feel like it's the right thing to do. You saw me tidying some of my old cards, getting them ready for going to the shop, and that got me thinking about a question that I had in the comments in relation to the last video I did, which was my sketchbook tour and showing you my mental progress with my work and my sketches. It was actually a comment by the person who initiated that video in the comments. It was a little additional comment. Let me find that comment and then we'll get to answering that. And I think that could be quite interesting for some of you guys to hear. So if you didn't watch the last video, I recommend that you do, but give yourself a good like 50-ish minutes because it is a whopper. Not all of my videos are this long. So I would recommend going to have a look at it if you've got a bit of time and you want to see a comparison between like 10, 20 years ago in my sketchbooks and now. And also if you want to hear about my journey that's actually started to unlock my potential, but really actually unlock my potential. Before I had a bad relationship with my sketching, with my drawing, and something clicked in 2023 and I started doing things in a slightly different way, and I talk about that in that video. Anyway, the end result is I've got to a place where I feel content and happy that my style, which I describe as my handwriting version of my drawing, so in the same way that you can't really too long pretend to write in someone else's handwriting, I think you also can't choose someone else's style and draw like that for too long. Eventually there's a jarring and it doesn't sit well with you. So I like to describe what I've found as my style, as my handwriting version of my drawing, because it really feels truly like me, just like my handwriting does. So that's where I got to at the end of that video. I'm content where I am, happy with my drawing. I'm now finally able to take my loose handwriting version of my drawing sketches out of my sketchbooks and into my finished illustration work. So this question was from @EmmaJaneIllustration, and they say, so now you're enjoying this new free way of sketching, how will you integrate this into books, cards, or your market sales now, or your art market sales now? Do you think it's changed how you'll illustrate future products? Yeah, for sure. I have been on a journey from where I started to where I am now. It will change how I illustrate in the future, because now I'm drawing authentically like me, where previously I might have been trying to draw in a certain style that I was finding from somewhere else and trying to pretend to draw like that style because that's what I thought people expected of me. I don't think it's something that's going to change the way I do things in a bad way. So regardless, the thing that got me thinking about this comment is when I was going through my old card designs. So I've got this here, for example. I was finding envelopes for this card. This is an old card I designed a million years ago. This card is actually one that I got printed a million years ago when I very first started my online shop, which is embersandink.co.uk. I bought like a bajillion of these cards because it got the unit price down, so I thought it'll be good for me, and it was. In the long run, I'm still using these, so I didn't need to buy any more. It did save me money in the long run. But because of that, it's in a style that's a lot more uptight than I do now. It's still me. I can still see my hand in it, but it's not how I would draw that scene now. Do I mind? No. It's still me. And I'm practicing not sweating the small stuff, so not being too bothered about the minute detail. I'm trying not to noodle over the detail in things, and that's one thing I've learned in my sketchbooks. Now I time my sketches or do quick sketches, and I try not to noodle too much, like detail the life out of the piece, which I used to do back then. But I'm taking that also into my business. Would it be nice if all of my products were illustrated in my new current style? Yeah, sure. But I'm not going to waste my energy throwing out old materials, throwing out old cards, which are still good, people are still buying them, people still like them, and give myself all that extra work. So what I'm doing now in my shop is when I come to the end of the current card selection that I've got, so when they're out of stock in my stock cupboard, I will design a new one. I'll use this as a template and I'll just redesign it how I do it now, and I'll put that out into the world instead of this one. So this will be version 1 and then I'll do version 2 of this. So I'm not getting too bogged down in the detail. These cards, because I bought them ages ago, even have my old logo on, and they have got an old website, which is an old WordPress website. All I did with that old website is put a redirect up to my new website. So I don't feel the pressure to have to like crash and burn my old way of doing things so no one knows how I used to do it. I don't mind it sitting alongside how I do it now. Everyone progresses, everyone changes, and I think people quite like to see that that change in your work, if you know what I mean. When I look at people who I like, people's work who I enjoy, I quite like seeing some of their earlier stuff and some of their later stuff and seeing that journey, rather than just getting the impression that they've popped up fully formed. I don't think that's helpful for anyone. So let me just go back to the question. Did that answer that question? So yeah, so I'm keeping my old stuff until it sells out, unless it's something that it jars with what I'm putting out there now. Maybe there are a few things that I did in the past, like a bunch of postcards, that don't really sit with the rest of my products. So I've stopped those for now. I've still got them, but I might give those out for free. When people buy things from the shop, I might put a little freebie in there. You know, it's still getting used. I'm trying not to waste them, but I'm just kind of phasing out the old way of doing it and phasing in the new way of doing it. But this is one of the reasons that for so long I stopped my next self-published book, because since starting the illustrations for that, if you don't know, this is what I got the planner for. I need to get back and organise that. Oh, yeah, I'll do that today, actually. It's a nice Sunday job. I had an idea for a book ages ago, even like before 2020, I think. And I went on my iPad, worked through it. I self-published my first children's book, so I thought I'll self-publish this one as well. Started working through the illustrations, almost got finished, then found a resource online, which you'll find if you go and have a look at my last video, showing me a new way of sketching. I went through a whole process of self-improvement isn't the word, but investment. I invested quite a lot in taking time out to sketch and finding out how I do it. Then I came back to it a while later after going through that journey and finding a new looser way of doing it, my handwriting version of doing it. And then I thought, I can't do that. That's not in my style anymore. But just in the same way that this is me as well as my new stuff, it would be a shame to waste all of the time and effort and, let's face it, electricity that's gone into plugging my iPad in and drawing all of these pages to not finish it. So I'm going to finish this in the style I started it in. I'm not going to erase it and redo everything in the way that I do it now. That would be a massive waste of time. So the next self-published book might be in a slightly different style to some of my newer stuff. It's still me, and it's still good. I still like the things that have come out of it. So I'm almost finished that. This is my little plan. I don't know if you can see it on camera. I've got a plan and I've got to do the cover. I can't really do the cover until I work out the dimensions of it, because you've got to have a different template to the internal pages. The internal pages you've got to, is this interesting? You've got to work out the bleed and the safe zone so that things don't get cut off in the production process. With the cover, because it's going to be a wraparound, you've also got to work out the spine width, and I just need to work out a whole new template for that before I start illustrating it, because it would be a shame to illustrate it and find that it doesn't fit the template. So that's going to come later. I've got the title page and the copyright page to do, which will probably be at the same time as the title. So that the book's almost finished, and then I'll be starting the Kickstarter. But yeah, for a while, going on the sketching journey and this kind of self-discovery journey about how I do things did change. It kind of almost put a full stop, almost very, very nearly put a full stop on a lot of work that I had in the pipeline, because I thought, I can't put this old stuff out into the world because it's not who I am now. Yeah, I don't know. I've moved past that now. Life's too short. Let's just put it that way. Life is too short. I've invested a lot of time in all the old stuff. It's still selling. It's still good. It's just slightly different to how I would do it now, and that's fine. That's progress. But there's no reason in my eyes why you should hide where you've come from, because we don't pop up into the world fully formed, knowing everything, knowing how to do things, brilliant artists. It's a journey. We find who we are and what we like to do, and it's always the kind of balance like that. Did that make sense? Was that interesting? Was it useful? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to get on and finish tidying my studio and also put out some planning stuff for February on my wall planner. The thing that's on there on February is the World Illustration Award deadline. Long-time viewers of the channel will know I've been working for an entry into the World Illustration Awards. I finished it, guys. I did it. Finally finished. The last little bit of tweaking I'm going to do, and it's not tweaking on the illustration, it's tweaking on the bio. I might sit down and do that today. I think it's okay. I don't think anyone will really care about any of the other details in the bio if I leave it as it is. But if I've got the time to have a little tweak on that and see if there's another way that I could write it or get some more stuff in there, because if I win, people want to know about me. So that's just that thing. That's the only thing I've got in February at the moment. So I should probably start blocking out some time. And as always, I'm going to hold it lightly. If I don't do certain things, I can just rearrange them for another day. But I feel like, if you've watched me before, you'll have heard me say this. If I don't write down the things in my head, they don't exist. Or they add so much stress to me, because I'm trying to keep everything in my head, that I don't get anything done. So writing it down, even if I end up having to move it around and change it around, at least it's on there and I'm not wasting anxiety levels. I'm not wasting my energy trying to keep my anxiety down by keeping it in my head. So yeah, let me know in the comments if that was interesting to you. I have finally tweaked my lovely entry for the World Illustration Awards. Unfortunately though, some of the thumbnails, when you click on them, when you enter, you get the option to preview your submission. And when I click on my thumbnails of my images, they show up enlarged and zoomed in and cropped. I've looked on the frequently asked questions and they said, yes, this sometimes does happen. The judges will have the proper images that you've submitted, so that's good. I did also just email them, because there is still, when I'm filming this, there's still 2 days before the closing date. So just in case there's anything I've done or anything I could do to make it better, I fired that email off, so I should be getting an answer to that soon. But I think it'll all be okay. But yeah, there we go. I'm going to leave this video here because I have got a sofa and a coffee and a book waiting for me. Can you imagine a more perfect Sunday? In fact, I can. Some toast. So I'm going to go and do that. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you had a lovely Sunday or are having a lovely Sunday if you're watching this on another Sunday. But I'm going to leave this video here. So hopefully I will catch you in the next one. So until then, bye.